entitled Junk. Paul Shaw, with his speech entitled Junk.
Of course, there we go, actually.
I'd like to ask you a question. How many people here like going to Bunnings? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Almost everyone, although few more guys than girls amongst them. Like the sausage is great, it's brilliant. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and any guests. A couple of weeks ago, I needed to go to Bunnings, and I needed to buy 3 things. I needed to buy some fertiliser for the grass, I needed some weed spray, and I needed some hedge clippers. And I went to my wife and I said, I need to go to Bunnings to buy these 3 things. And my wife said to me, Paul, that is not the reason why you want to go to Bunnings. The reason why you want to go to Bunnings is because of the sausage sizzle out the front.
Yeah.
To buy a sausage. And I said, no. That isn't the reason. I need to go for these 3 things. Okay, Paul, off you go. So I go to Bunnings, and I'm out the front, and I'm eating a sausage. And for the life of me, I can't remember the 3 things that I came to Bunnings for. So I wander in, and I'm looking around. And I did eventually buy something that day. And what I bought is this thing. Now you're probably wondering what this is. This is an air pump. And it said on the box, Formula 1 air pump, inflate tyres like a F1 pit crew. From deflated to inflated in under 2 seconds. As soon as I read that, I knew I had to buy it. And I took it home. Now I'd like to tell you how I use this air pump. And the usual situation is, my young son who's 2 years old, he'll be sitting in the pram and we're ready to go out. And then I notice the tyre on the pram, a little bit deflated. Needs some air, but not to worry, the F1 air pump's right there. And I pull it out, and it's quite easy to use. You just dial up your air pressure, and then you go like this. And it makes that incredible sound. And every time he screams, "Mama! Mama!" And every time my wife rushes in, and she goes, "Paul, that bloody air pump! Why do you keep using it? You know it upsets him. Why do you keep buying junk?" I guess a good question at this stage is how a reputable company like Bunnings would sell a dodgy product like that. And I think I've got a bit of an idea how this comes about. I'd like you to imagine the following scene. The boss of Bunnings calls a meeting with all his managers. People, today we had a container load of F1 air pumps arrive. However, there is 2 problems. Firstly, upon testing, the F1 air pump makes an obnoxious noise when being used. And secondly, it works no better than a $5 hand pump. So the question I have for you today, my managers, is how are we going to sell this air pump? And right up the front, there's one guy, and he's excited. It's the director of marketing. He's going, sir. Our surveys reveal that the most stupid customer that we have at Bunnings comes to the store for no particular purpose at all. In fact, after doing surveys, we have concluded that this person actually is at the store for the sausage sizzle out the front to buy a sausage. They then wander into the store, and what they will buy is simply the first thing that they see. And that is how I came to be the owner of one of these air pumps. A little bit later, I'm back at home. My wife comes in and I'm in the garage. She goes, "Paul, what's this old computer doing here?" Well, Rachel, that computer is very sentimental to me because that is the first computer I ever bought in the year 1990. Well, Paul, when did you last use that computer? Well, it's been a few years now. Well, Paul, I believe that if you haven't used something in the last 12 months, it should probably be in the rubbish bin. Well, Rachel, what about that wedding dress you've got in the wardrobe? When did you last wear that? Paul, that is ridiculous. I am attached to that wedding dress, and you should be too. I am attached to the wedding dress, Rachel, but I am also attached to the computer. Now, at the end of the day, my wife, not surprisingly, kept the wedding dress. But I got to keep my junk. Come back to this morning, and I'm having breakfast, getting ready for today. And I said to my wife, "Rachel, I have to go to South Melbourne today to do a Toastmasters speech." And she goes, "Paul, that is not the reason why you want to go to South Melbourne. You want to go to South Melbourne because of that famous dim sim place you keep talking about. And you want to buy a dim sim." Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. I do have a saying with Bunnings because it's true. You always go there and you think, what did I come for?